we are talking about the urinary system then. And in urinary system, we want to see what is the epithelium of the nephron, the excretory system, and then we will see what is the epithelium of the collecting system also, because there are some questions upon that. So when you are talking about the nephron, it is excretory system, and it will have components like you have glomerulus going into the Bowman's capsule, having a PCT, loop of Henle, and DCT, and then there will be a collecting duct. If you are talking about the Bowman's capsule, you will find that simple squamous epithelium, which we'll draw in a diagram. If you're talking about the PCT, DCT, then they have cuboidal epithelium. And if you're talking about collecting duct, then there will be the columnar epithelium. If you're talking about the loop of Henle, then there will be squamous epithelium. Most of the loop of Henle will have squamous epithelium. This is what we are going to draw in a diagram now. So let's draw the diagram. See, this is a nephron. Now, if you say it is a nephron, what are the parts of nephron? It is the Bowman's capsule. And then after Bowman's capsule, what do you have? I have the PCT, proximal convoluted tubule. And after that, what do you have? I have the loop of Henle. And what is after that? I have the DCT, distal convoluted tubule. So what is in the beginning? That is Bowman's capsule, which will receive the ultrafiltrate of blood, which is urine, which will be passing through PCT to enter loop of Henle, and then to enter the DCT, and from DCT where it will go? To the connecting tubule. To the connecting tubule. So you mean to say that there was some capillary plexus which is called as glomerulus, and that capillary plexus will give ultrafiltrate of blood, which is called as the urine. So we are talking about urine formation now. You see, there was some capillary plexus which is called as glomerulus, and it will give you the ultrafiltrate of blood, which is called urine. Urine is collected by the Bowman's capsule, and it is quite thin lined, actually squamous, simple squamous epithelium. Now this simple squamous epithelium which is in the Bowman's capsule is also there in the loop of Henle. Even loop of Henle is simple squamous. So where do we have simple squamous epithelium? In the Bowman's capsule and also loop of Henle. But be careful, because if you are talking about the loop of Henle, there can be the descending limb and there can be the ascending limb. So what about the descending ascending limb? Actually, at the level of descending ascending limb, it is not squamous. Then what it is? It is cuboidal epithelium. So when you are talking about the descending limb of the loop of Henle or ascending limb of the loop of Henle, then it is cuboidal. Yeah, low cuboidal, low cuboidal. So what will I answer if somebody is asking me loop of Henle? If somebody is asking you loop of Henle, you should answer simple squamous like Bowman's capsule. But if somebody specifies descending limb of loop of Henle, ascending limb of loop of Henle, change your answer to low cuboidal epithelium. And what do I see in the PCT? Whatever you see in the DCT. So what do I see in the DCT? Maybe it is the PCT or DCT, both of them are cuboidal epithelium. Now if you say it is PCT or maybe DCT, it is cuboidal epithelium, fine, but there is a difference. What is the difference? What is the difference between PCT and DCT? Though they are both cuboidal epithelium, you will find that in PCT there are microvilli, but they are irregularly arranged. And why the PCT, which is a cuboidal epithelium, the PCT, which is cuboidal epithelium, is having microvilli to increase the surface area of absorption. To increase the surface area of absorption, it is called as brush border. The microvilli will form brush border. So those microvilli are forming brush border? Yes. And why do you need microvilli? To increase the area for surface area for absorption in the PCT. So PCT is cuboidal cell with microvilli forming brush border. Is that okay? Yes. But even the DCT is cuboidal. What is the difference? Difference is that DCT is having less microvilli. or missing microvilli. So you mean to say that DCT, which is also cuboidal epithelium, will not have microvilli? Yeah, means it does not have the brush border? No. Brush border is present only in the PCT. DCT has no brush border because it has less number of microvilli. So this was nephron. Yes. This is the excretory system. Yes. What about the collecting system then? As you have discussed the excretory system, let us talk about the collecting system also. You already have formed the urine. You have to collect it. How will you collect it? And for that purpose, we'll move further. You will find that transitional epithelium is present in the collecting system. Where exactly does it begin? Is a question. And what is the terminal extent of transitional epithelium? It begins at the tip of collecting ducts. But if it is beginning at the tip of collecting ducts, then what is the collecting ducts majorly lined by? That we have to find out. So tip of collecting ducts, that is where the transitional epithelium will begin. Where it will terminate? In the proximal urethra. In the proximal urethra. So till the proximal urethra, it will be transitional epithelium starting from the tip of collecting ducts. Let me show you a diagram, then it will become more clear. You have to understand that when you are talking about nephron, we already have discussed some squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium already, the excretory system. But when you are talking about collecting system, you have ureter, pelvis, major minor calyx, and collecting ducts. I told you tip of the collecting ducts will be transitional epithelium. So tip of the collecting ducts will have transitional epithelium, which will collect the urine into the minor major calyx, into the renal pelvis and ureter. Everything is actually transitional epithelium. Now if you have transitional epithelium in this area, can we draw a diagram for that ourselves? Yeah, let's do that now. We'll do it. And as you are drawing the diagram, you'll find this is the urine which is already formed, and then it is collected by the collecting ducts. Now if you say these are the collecting ducts which are collecting the urine, what are they lined by? They are lined by the columnar epithelium. If somebody asks you what is collecting ducts lined by, they are lined by columnar epithelium, but not the tip. Why? What about the tip? Tip is transitional epithelium. So transitional epithelium will begin at the tip of the collecting ducts, though they are majorly lined by columnar epithelium. Now, where is this urine collected by collecting ducts going into? Into the minor calyx. And from the minor calyx, where it will go? Major calyx. And from the major calyx, where it will go? To the renal pelvis. And from the renal pelvis, where it will go? To the ureter. And from the ureter, where it will go? To the urinary bladder. And from the urinary bladder, where it will go? To the proximal urethra. Proximal urethra. That is the point. So understand, the transitional epithelium begins at the tip of the collecting ducts, is also lining the minor calyx, is also lining major calyx, is also lining renal pelvis, is also lining ureter and the urinary bladder and the proximal urethra. Proximal urethra has transitional epithelium. Then what is the distal urethra having? What is the distal urethra having? You remember the female urethra? What is the female urethra lined by? Any external opening, what is it lined by? So in the female, proximal urethra is transitional epithelium, but distal urethra will be stratified squamous epithelium. What about the males then? What about males? Males urethra, because it is longer than female. What about males? For that purpose, we'll have to take a sagittal section of the male pelvis. Let us take a sagittal section of male pelvis and look at the male urethra, which is 20 centimeter long. And as you are drawing it, you will find this is the urinary bladder giving you the urethra. Actually, male urethra passes through prostate, so there you will call it as prostatic urethra. It is a sagittal view, side view of prostate. So sagittal section or side view of prostate, this is the urinary bladder. So that is the urinary bladder, and this is the apex of urinary bladder looking anterior. So that is the apex of urinary bladder, which is looking anterior, and it is sending urine into the urethra. Urethra is passing through prostate, so it will be called prostatic urethra. What is beyond the prostatic urethra? Actually, there is a deep perineal pouch. And what is inside the deep perineal pouch? Inside the deep perineal pouch, we have this M. What is M? Membranous urethra. Are you trying to say that M, the membranous urethra, is a content of the deep perineal pouch? Yeah, it is. It is. So membranous urethra is a content of the deep perineal pouch. Now it will come into superficial perineal pouch. And when it is coming to superficial perineal pouch, it will change the name and then you will call it as spongy urethra. S for spongy urethra. So you mean to say that first it was membranous urethra in the deep pouch and now it has become spongy urethra in the social perineal pouch. Yeah, that is the point. And then this superficial perineal pouch having spongy urethra, it will enter the penis and become penile urethra. So it is now entering the penis and it is penile spongy urethra, penile spongy urethra. And this is the tip of the urethra. What do you think the tip of the male urethra lined by? What is any external opening lined by? Any external opening is lined by, tip of the male urethra is lined by stratified squamous epithelium. And what is the proximal area lined by? Proximally, it is the same epithelium as the urinary bladder. What is that? Transitional epithelium. Where you have transitional epithelium? In the urinary bladder till the proximal half of the prostatic urethra. Understand? Transitional epithelium is in the beginning, it was lining the urinary bladder and till the proximal half of prostatic urethra. Now, proximal half of prostatic urethra, you have transitional epithelium. Tip of the urethra, you have the stratified squamous epithelium. What is the most of the urethra lined by in male? What is the epithelial lining in male urethra except the beginning and the ending? And your answer is male urethra is chiefly lined by stratified columnar epithelium. And if stratified columnar epithelium is not in the option, you can also say pseudo stratified columnar epithelium. First answer should be, see, somebody asking what is membranous urethra lined by? What do you say? If somebody is telling membranous urethra, not only membranous urethra which is in the deep perineal pouch, but any part of the urethra, actually major portion of the male urethra is lined by pseudo stratified columnar epithelium. But first answer should be stratified columnar. If not found, then you can say pseudo stratified columnar epithelium. Gray's Anatomy gives both, but this is first answer. Now, once you have that kind of a detail, I got a question for you. Let us look at the question. It is asking urothelium, which is transitional epithelium, line all except. What do you think is the answer? Yes, you know the answer already. Why? This is the answer. Because we have just said that membranous urethra is in the deep perineal pouch and most of the male urethra lined by stratified columnar epithelium, not the transitional. That is why this is the answer. What about the ureter? No problem. The major minor calyxes? No problem. The urinary bladder? No problem. But not the membranous urethra, because membranous urethra is stratified columnar epithelium. If not in the option, make it pseudo stratified columnar epithelium. Second answer. But keep the answer as choice number D.